Miriam Ross-Tampour had come home from a dentist appointment and was resting on her couch when her doorbell rang. When she opened the door, her life and the life of her roommate changed forever.
Miriam and Marzia were born into Muslim families in Iran. As young adults, they both became Christians. Converting from Islam is a crime in the Muslim world, punishable by death. The girls knowingly risked their lives and put Bibles in the hands of 20,000 people. They even started 2 secret house churches. In March 2009, Miriam and Marzia were arrested in Tehran, held in the infamous Evin prison, where they faced execution by hanging.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Miriam and Marzia. It's nice to have both of you with us.
Thank you.
Miriam, let me start with you because this whole thing started with you. You were on your couch in your own apartment. You'd come home from a dental appointment. The doorbell rang, and what happened?
Yeah, the day we got arrested, I was home waiting for Marzia to come back from the security police. And I knew that something bad would happen because we were both suspicious about the phone call that Marzia had received in the morning. And it was about 4 p.m. I heard the doorbell rang, and I heard the sound of Marzia with a few others behind the door. I looked through the people, and I could see her with 3 guards standing in front of the door. And for a moment, I thought that I needed to do something. I wanted to hide our cell phones, to protect our friends and their information. And, I wanted to turn off this TV because we were using satellite, which is illegal. And I was thinking that I needed to call someone and let them know what was happening. But my mind was in shock, and I couldn't do anything. I just opened the door, and they came, and they entered our apartment. They ransacked everywhere. And they took both of us with all our belongings, our Bibles, Jesus movies, and our personal belongings to the security police.
Marzia, when you came in that day and the 2 of you were taken away, you were taken to a detention center first for a couple of weeks and then to Evin prison.
Yes.
What were the charges against you?
For the first day and especially the first week, we were so scared and pale. Even we couldn't talk because their behavior was so brutal and humiliating. And the only thing that we could do was praying in tongues for each other. And God really strengthened us during that time. And they sent us to detention and, promoting Christianity. To be a Christian, it's not illegal. It's legal. It's not legal. And they had to give us another charge. And they sent us, after 15 days, they sent us to Evin prison with the charge of anti-government, blasphemy, apostasy, and promoting Christianity.
Just based on the materials that you had in your
Yes.
apartment and whatever their suspicions of you were. What were the conditions like in the prison? I mean, we hear about Evin prison here in the Western world and the horrors of it. What was it like?
Of course, it was awful. This prison is notorious for arresting, torturing, raping, and executing of many innocent people. There are many respectful and intellectuals, like religious prisoners, like lawyers, students, journalists, and even doctors who are in prison just because their beliefs are against the government's inhuman rules. And like other political prisoners, we spent 259 days in this prison, and we had the experience of being in solitary confinement.
Wow.
And once a week, we were being interrogated by 2 interrogators for long hours.
So in solitary, you aren't even with each other. That must have been very frightening, Marzia. You don't know what's happened to her. They can really lie about things and make you think something's happened that has not. How did you survive that?
As Mariam explained, our situation in 2009 was very worse, and they separated us for about 20 days. And each week, once a week, we were being interrogated by 2 interrogators for long hours, about 8-7 hours. And they took her, and I became worried about her situation because I didn't know where she is, and I was praying for her to be safe. And we didn't have any information about outside. The cells was very small, and just we prayed, and God really helped us during that time.
What kind of deprivation did you see and experience in the prison? And I know that illness often is something that people suffer through there. Talk a little about that, Miriam.
Yeah, for 9 months we were both sick, and we were suffering from different kind of diseases. Marzia had many problems, kidney problems, toothache, and she had headaches, and she was sick all the time. And I had problems. I was poisoned twice in prison. And after 2 weeks, they sent me to a doctor, and she gave me a medicine which was wrong. And again, I was poisoned. And the doctor just laughed and told me, oh, okay, I think that I gave you wrong medicine. And it was not just about us. There were many prisoners in this prison, like political prisoners and other normal prisoners. They are suffering from this situation in this prison.
At first, I know that you prayed to be released. I mean, I think that would be the natural prayer of anyone that's stuck in a situation like that. But then you began to pray for other people and see God move in the midst of your situation. Tell us some of the things that happened there. Marzia, why don't you start?
Yes, you know, for the first week, I mentioned earlier that we were so scared, and just we prayed for our release, because we didn't want to be in that brutal place. And but after that, we had many great opportunity to talk with many prisoners. There were many prostitutes, addicted people, and most of them, they were so hopeless, sad, and disappointed. And we had a great opportunity with them. Before we arrested, we had 2 house church. One of them was for prostitutes, and the other one was for young people. And when we were in prison, we had this opportunity to be with many prostitutes, and every day we gather to each other and pray, and they cry, and some of them, they confess their sins, and it was like a church for us. And that's why we understood that it is God's will to be in that prison, and we pray for most of prisoners.
What was the lowest point in prison for you?
You know, we spent 259 days in prison, and it was only one day that I couldn't feel the presence of God. And at that time, we were in solitary confinement, and we were not together. And one day, I just woke up, and I couldn't feel the presence of God. That was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. I was so sad. I didn't know what to do. I was with a Muslim woman. She was political prisoner. And I just heard a voice in my heart, and that told me that start singing. And, you know, I wanted to sing, but I couldn't find the words. I knew many worship songs, but I couldn't sing. And something was stopping me from praying and singing. And I felt that I needed to start singing in tongues. And, you know, there is a rule in that building 209 that no one is allowed to even speak loudly. And, but at that moment, I just wanted to talk to my father. I wanted to have a relationship with him, because it was so scary for me that I couldn't feel his presence. And I started singing in tongues very loudly. And the woman in my cell was so scared. She told me, Mariam, please be quiet. The guards will come and they will punish you. But I continued singing. After 1 hour, I could feel the very presence of the Holy Spirit all around me and in my cell. And also my cellmate, who was a Muslim woman, she could feel the presence of God. And she asked me, please, can we sing in Farsi? I want to join you. I taught her some worship songs, and we started singing with each other. And after 2 hours, I could really feel the peace and joy. And God told me at that day that I am with you every day, even if you don't feel my presence.
That's a good word for everybody who's listening to your testimony. After 59 days, you were released. Why do you think you were suddenly released?
You know, we believe that the first reason that we got released, it's because of God's grace and God's wills. And the second reason, it was about the Christian supports. We heard many Christians all around the world, they were supporting us either by praying and sending letters to prison, which was so encouraging for us, and it made the Iranian government angry. And also we heard that some international organizations like United Nations, Amnesty, and even Pope from Vatican, they sent letters to Iranian government. And the Iranian government, they knew that many people from all around the world, they were watching their activities, by their brutal behaviors, by keeping us in this dark and brutal place.
So it makes a difference when people sign these things. Sometimes we hear of someone who's in a prison scenario in another country, and online we're asked to sign petitions, and it does make a difference. What are you both doing with your lives now?
Our main goal here is to be a voice for voiceless, and we are living in a free country. We don't want to just live for ourselves, and we promised some of our friends in prison that we will be a voice for them in future. And we wrote our book, Captive in Iran, and we hope that we can spread the message of our book and be a voice for those who are still in prison, who are still suffering, by spreading the message of our book. And by, we put the names on our website, captiveiniran.com, the names of those people who are still in Evin prison because of their faith. And we want to encourage people to continue praying for them and continue sending letters to prisoners.
Prayer makes a huge difference, and we want to just encourage our viewers to go to your website and to pray for these friends that you have put on there by name. Miriam and Marzieh have written a riveting book. It's called Captive in Iran. It's available wherever books are sold. I highly recommend it. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Pat?
What incredible women. What incredible women. I say it again, ladies and gentlemen. This is a vicious, evil system. And these are just two victims, just because of what they believed. They believed in Jesus. For that hideous time in prison.